Which verse? Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Mataji, 9.31.
So we saw the prayers of Brahma, that how Brahmaji says that Lord, let me do my seva very sincerely and seriously. Let not the pride of the creator or pride of the post enter into me. So this is a prayer which Brahmaji asked to Lord. This shows how humble is Lord Brahma. It is not that because he did austerity, he got the post. He got the post because he's a pure devotee. That is why he got the post. Because when we were doing Hiranyakashipu Leela at that time, Hiranyakashipu tells to Brahma, he thinks in the mind that because Brahmaji did a lot of austerity, that is why he got the post. Let me do more sincere and serious austerity, more greater austerity than Brahma, so that I can take the post of Brahma. It is not because he did austerity, because not only he did austerity, but he is very humble and he surrendered to Lord. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Now what Lord answers, let us see. 2nd Canto, 9th chapter, 31st verse. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Jnanam paramaguhyam me yad vijnana samanvitam sarahasyam tadangam cha grahana kaditam mayam. So Lord says, Jnanam paramaguhyam. So knowledge about me is very, very confidential. May means of me. The knowledge of me is very confidential. So then, Vijnana Samanvitam Sarahasyam. So how a person can realize, Vijnana means realized knowledge. How a person can realize the knowledge? By coordinating, that means by having devotional service. So this knowledge can be realized in conjunction means Samanvitam. If you perform devotional service, then this knowledge can be realized. Knowledge of Lord is very, very confidential. It can be realized. That is why it is said, one cannot realize the knowledge by his senses. Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved ghayam indriyahi sevon mukhaihi jivado swayameva spurityada. We have heard this verse. Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved ghayam indriyahi. So this name, form, about Lord, it can be understood only when a person performs pure devotional service. Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved ghayam indriyahi. By our own senses, it is very difficult to understand this secret knowledge because it is the most confidential knowledge. Very difficult to understand. So realization of the knowledge can happen only when a person performs the devotional service in conjunction. What is the meaning of conjunction? This knowledge has to be coordinated along with the service. If the service is not there, it will only remain as knowledge. And there are so many knowledgeable people, they come in the category of Gyanis. So then, Sarahasyam Tadangam. Sarahasyam Tadangam. This is one of the Angam. Angam means it's the most important aspect. Grahana Gaditam Maya. Grahana, just take it. Just try to take up Gaditam Maya as explained by me. So now necessary paraphernalia for that process is being explained by me. You may take it up carefully. So in this way, here very clearly it has been said. You'll hear some sound. There's some work going on in some place. But the voice is clear, right? Voice is clear. So this
yes,
Jnanam,
voice is clear.
Yeah, this Jnanam can take the shape of Vijnanam only when it is coordinated along with devotional service. So devotional service has been emphasized. And then this Rahasyam can be understood very nicely. So for that, whatever necessary paraphernalia, whatever explanation which I am giving, that Lord says, just take it up very sincerely or very carefully. Okay, I'm going to read.
Hare Krishna. Text 31. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Jnanam Paramaguhyam Me Yadvijnana Samanvitam Sarahasyam Tadangam Cha Grihana Gaditam Maya. Translation. The personality of Godhead said, knowledge about me as described in the scriptures is very confidential and it has to be realized in conjunction with devotional service. The necessary paraphernalia for that process is explained by me. You may take it up carefully. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Brahma is the topmost devotee of the Lord within the universe, and therefore the personality of Godhead replied to his four principal inquiries in four important statements, which are known as the original Bhagavatam in four verses. These were Brahma's questions. What are the forms of the Lord, both in matter and transcendence? How are the different energies of the Lord working? How does the Lord play with his different energies? How may Brahma be instructed to discharge the duty entrusted to him? The prelude to the answer is this verse under discussion, wherein Lord informs Brahma that knowledge of him, the supreme absolute truth, as it is stated in the revealed scriptures, is very subtle and cannot be understood unless one is self-realized by the grace of the Lord. The Lord says that Brahma may take the answer as he explains them. This means that transcendental knowledge of the absolute supreme being can be known if it is made known by the Lord himself. By the mental speculation of the greatest mundane thinkers, the absolute truth cannot be understood. The mental speculators can reach up to the standard of impersonal Brahman realization, but factually, complete knowledge of transcendence is beyond the knowledge of impersonal Brahman. Thus, it is called the supreme confidential wisdom. Out of many liberated souls, someone may be qualified to know the personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also said by the Lord himself that out of many hundreds of thousands of people, one may try for perfection in human life, and out of many liberated souls, one may know him as he is. Therefore, the knowledge of the personality of Godhead may be attained by devotional service only. Rahasyam means devotional service. Okay. Lord Krishna instructed Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita because he found Arjuna to be a devotee and friend. Without such qualifications, one cannot enter into the mystery of the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, one cannot understand the personality of Godhead unless one becomes a devotee and discharges the devotional service. This mystery is love of Godhead. Therein lies the main qualification for knowing the mystery of the personality of Godhead. And to attain the stage of transcendental love of Godhead, regulative principles of devotional service must be followed. The regulative principles are called Vaidhi Bhakti or the devotional service of the Lord, and they can be practiced by a neophyte with his present senses. Such regulative principles are mainly based on hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord, and such hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord can be made possible in the association of devotees only. Lord Chaitanya, therefore, recommended 5 main principles for attaining perfection in the devotional service of the Lord. First is the association with devotees, Shravanam, hearing. Second is chanting the glories of the Lord, that must be Kirtanam. Third, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from a pure devotee. Fourth, residing in a holy place connected with the Lord. And fifth, worshipping the deity of the Lord with devotion. Such rules and regulations are parts of devotional service. So, as requested by Lord Brahma, the personality of Godhead will explain all about the 4 questions put forward by Brahma, and others also, which are parts and parcels of the same questions. Hare Krishna.
So Brahmaji asked 4 questions. If you see verse number 26, he asked about the spiritual and the material form. In verse number 27, he asked about the Maya and the Yoga Maya. In 28, he asked about the past tense relating to Maya and Yoga Maya. In 29, he is asking for the instructions for attaining the desired goal. So in this verse, Lord promises in the present verse, in this verse, to answer these questions in order with the 4 verses. With the 4 verses. So in this way, Lord is going to answer these 4 questions. That is how the whole Bhagavatam is Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam, this 31, 32, 33, 34. They become the Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam. So Lord is answering. This is expressed now. Lord has answered. The Bhagavatam composed of these 4 verses given as answers by the Lord is famous since it is spoken by the Lord himself. This is expressed in this verse. Not only will I give you the knowledge of my form, but also realization as well. Moreover, this form is merely understood Paramaguhyam and is much superior to the knowledge of impersonal Brahman. I will explain what is intimate Rahasyam, Prema Bhakti. Realize Prema Bhakti which is accomplished by that knowledge of my form. Prema is well known as Rahasya. From the statement, Sugopyam Api Vakshyami. I will speak to you, the topmost secret. So in this way, in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th Canto, 11th chapter, 49th verse, Krishna is saying that I will speak to you the most secret knowledge. I will also explain by my mercy about sadhana bhakti, anga of prema, though you did not ask. Thus, I will explain 3 things: prema bhakti, sadhana bhakti, and my form. Moreover, though you asked about these 3 through instructions from me, verse 29 speaks, instruct me. I will explain this in 4 verses so that materialistic people do not understand, since it is confidential. By mention of prema and sadhana bhakti, it should be understood that the Lord also teaches about chanting the holy name, which is explained in the first canto, which is more secret and more excellent than the most secret knowledge of the Lord's form. So Lord is explaining in the first canto about the Lord's name, and how Lord's name is like Ganga. Even the fear personified fears Lord's name. In the first canto, first chapter itself, you'll find the Lord will especially give understanding to Brahma. Therefore, he instructs him to try to understand, even though he is already attentive, Maya Grahana. So now in the 4 verses, Lord is going to speak the transcendental knowledge. That is known as Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam. Let us see. 32nd verse. Yavanaham yatha bhavo yadrupa gunakarmakah tathaiva tattva vijnanam astu te madanagrahat. So he wants Lord to instruct. So Lord says, yes, I will instruct you. I will instruct you about my form. He wants to know. In the first question, what he wanted to know about the creation, about the material creation, about the transcendence, then how the energies of the Lord is working, then how Lord performs his pastimes. Then he wants that Lord should instruct him to discharge the duty. So much of disturbance is there. Okay. So yavanaham yatha bhavo yadrupa gunakarmakah tathaiva tattva vijnanam astu te madanugraha. Yavana means my eternal form. Aham, myself. Yatha, as much as. Bhavaha, transcendental existence. So my eternal form, my transcendental existence, and then my rupa, that means my various forms and colors, my qualities, and then my activities. Krishna says, Tatha, that means as it is. Prabhupada writes on Bhagavad Gita as it is. So and so, evaha tattva vijnanam. This is a factual realization. So, I will awaken your realization. Astu. Te unto you, mat anugraha. By my causeless mercy, I will, by my causeless mercy, I will awaken your spiritual realization, factual realization, by which you will see my eternal form, you will see my color as it is, you will see my transcendent existence, you will see my qualities, you will see my activities, you will be awakened. Tasyaite katitayartam prakashante mahatmana. It is prakashante. I will reveal the form, Krishna says. I will reveal my form unto you. This is the secret of success, Prabhupada writes. In understanding the intricacies of knowledge of the Absolute, this is actually the costless mercy of the Lord. To understand Lord, even to somebody asked me, what is the key success of any preaching? I said, it's mercy. It is nothing else. Only mercy of Lord makes a person speak about Lord. Or who is like me, how a person can speak? It's not so easy to understand God. He said, Anta Shesha, with 1,000 mouths, he cannot glorify. With one mouth, how are we able to glorify? It is nothing but just mercy of Srila Prabhupada, our acharyas. If they have that anugraha, then we can speak some few words on Lord. So here Lord tells to Brahmaji that I will awaken. That means tasyaite katitayartam. That means I am going prakashante. Awaken means I will reveal this knowledge to you. I will reveal. Because he asked. The questions asked were about four type of questions were asked. I want to know the form. The form of what? This material world. I want also to know the form of his transcendence. So I want to know the form. I want to know how the energies of Lord is working. I want to know how Lord performs the pastimes. I want to be instructed by you. Krishna says, don't worry, I'll instruct you in this knowledge. Because this knowledge is very paramaguhyam, but you have performed devotional service. Sad rahasyam tadangam. Because you have performed devotional service, this knowledge will be revealed. Sa rahasyam. So here, Srila Prabhupada in the purport, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in the purport says, what is rahasyam? Here, rahasyam refers to understanding the personal aspect and having prema bhakti towards Lord. That is the rahasyam. Prema bhakti means you can even scold Lord in that, isn't it? That type of love you should have for Lord. Like how the Vrajavasis, they have that type of Lord. When we are talking about Vrajavasis, don't think that who are settling there are Vrajavasis. Those who have that type of consciousness, the Lord is mine, or I am Lord's. Lord is mine, we cannot say that, only Radharani can say. I belong to Lord. My all samarthya belongs to Lord. And that mode, one has that type of prema bhakti that is very difficult to attain. If anugraha is there of the parshadas of Lord, one develops that type of love. Where a person considers Lord as his own and serves Lord. In that prema bhakti, he has the right even to scold. That only that stage it can happen. Okay. So here now, Chaturshloki Bhagavatam has been started. 31, 32, 33, 34, Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. Okay. Where Lord is answering all the four, Lord is answering or Lord is instructing. The whole Bhagavatam is based on this. In the first thing, what is based? Lord is going to make him realize Prema Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti. Why? Because the topmost secret can be realized only by service. Now, in this verse, what has been given? Only by Krishna's mercy, one can attain the perfect realization about the dimension, about the form, of the qualities, pastimes, everything. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Yavanaham yatha bhavo yadrupa guna karmakaha tathaiva tattva vijnanam vastute mat anugraha. All of me, namely my actual eternal form and my transcendental existence, color, qualities, and activities, let all be awakened within you by factual realization. out of my causeless mercy. The secret of success in understanding the intricacies of knowledge of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is the causeless mercy of the Lord. Even in the material world, the father of many sons discloses the secret of his position to the pet sons. The father discloses the confidence unto the son whom he thinks worthy. An important man in the social order can be known by his mercy only. Similarly, one must be very dear to the Lord in order to know the Lord. The Lord is unlimited. No one can know him completely, but one's advancement in the transcendental loving service of the Lord can make one eligible to know the Lord. Here we can see that the Lord is sufficiently pleased with Brahmaji, and therefore he offers his causeless mercy to him, so that Brahmaji may have the factual realization of the Lord by his mercy only. In the Vedas also, it is said that a person cannot know the absolute truth, personality of Godhead, simply by dint of mundane education or intellectual gymnastics. One can know the supreme truth if one has unflinching faith in the bona fide spiritual master, as well as in the Lord. Such a faithful person, even though illiterate in the mundane sense, can know the Lord automatically by the mercy of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita also, it is said that the Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone, and he keeps himself concealed from the faithless by his Yoga Maya potency. To the faithful, the Lord reveals himself in his form, quality, and pastimes. The Lord is not formless, as wrongly conceived by the impersonalist, but his form is not like one that we have experienced. The Lord discloses his form even to the extent of measurement to his pure devotees, and that is the meaning of Yavan, as explained by Srila Jiva Goswami, the greatest scholar of Srimad Bhagavatam. The Lord discloses the transcendental nature of his existence. The mundane wranglers make mundane conceptions of the form of the Lord. It is said in the revealed scriptures that the Lord has no mundane form. Therefore, person with a poor fund of knowledge conclude that he must be formless. They cannot distinguish between the mundane form and the spiritual form. According to them, without a mundane form, one must be formless. This conclusion is also mundane because formlessness is the opposite conception of form. Negation of the mundane conception does not establish a transcendental fact. In the Brahm Samhita, it is said that the Lord has a transcendental form and that he can utilize any one of his senses for any purpose. For example, he can eat with his eyes and he can see with his leg. In the mundane conception of form, one cannot eat with one's eyes or see with his leg. That is the difference between the mundane body and the spiritual body of Sachidananda. A spiritual body is not formless. It is a different type of body of which we cannot conceive with our present mundane senses. Formless, therefore, means devoid of mundane form or possessing a spiritual body of which the non-devotee can have no conception by the speculative method. The Lord discloses to the devotee his unlimited varieties of transcendental bodies, all identical with one another with different kinds of bodily features. Some of the transcendental bodies of the Lord are blackish, and some of them are whitish. Some of them are reddish, and some are yellowish. Some of them are four-handed, and some of them two-handed. Some of them are like the fish, and some are like the lion. All these different transcendental bodies of the Lord without any differential category are disclosed to the devotees of the Lord by the mercy of the Lord. And thus the impersonalist false argument claiming the formlessness of the supreme truth do not appeal to a devotee of the Lord, even though such a devotee may not be very advanced in devotional service. The Lord has unlimited numbers of transcendental qualities, and one of them is his affection for his unalloyed devotees. In the history of the mundane world, we can appreciate his transcendental qualities. The Lord incarnates himself for the protection of his devotees and for the annihilation of the faithless. His activities are in relationship with his devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of such activities of the Lord in relationship with his devotees, and the non-devotees have no knowledge of such pastimes. The Lord lifted the Govardhan hill when he was only 7 years old and protected his pure devotees at Vrindavan from the wrath of Indra, who was overflooding the place with rain. Now, this lifting of the Govardhan hill by a 7-year-old boy may be unbelievable for the faithless, but for the devotees, it is absolutely believable. The devotee believes in the almighty potency of the Lord, while the faithless say that the Lord is almighty but do not believe it. Such men with poor fund of knowledge do not know that the Lord is the Lord eternally, and that one cannot become the Lord by meditation for millions of years or by mental speculation. for billions of years. The impersonal interpretation of the mundane wranglers is completely refuted in this verse because it is clearly stated here that the Supreme Lord has his qualities, form, pastimes, and everything that a person has. All these descriptions of the transcendental nature of the personality of Godhead are factual realizations by the devotee of the Lord, and by the causeless mercy of the Lord, they are revealed to his pure devotee and to no one else. Hare Krishna Mataji.
26, 27, 28, 29. 4 questions were asked. Answer is starting from 33rd verse. 33rd, 34, 35, 36. That is Chaturshruti Bhagavatam. The 2 what has been given is the basis for this Chaturshruti Bhagavatam. What are the 2? Because you perform devotional service, I am giving the knowledge. Because you have causeless mercy, I am giving the knowledge. These 2 things are very important: causeless mercy and devotional service. Prayasa and Anugraha. Same thing we are finding even in the Damabandhan Leela. Prayasa and Anugraha. If Lord's 2 energies, Satya Sankalpa and Aishwarya, did not allow Yashoda to bind, but Prayasa, that is devotional service, Prayasa and Anugraha, is very much required to bind Krishna within the heart. Even to know Krishna also, these 2 aspects are very important. So what is his first question? I want to know about the material and the spiritual world. I want to know. That means I want to know about your creation. I want to know about the transcendence also. I want to know about the spiritual world also. So let us see the 33rd verse. So 33 is for 26, 34 is for 27, 35 is for 28, and 36 is for 29th verse. Aham evasam nanyad yat sad asad param paschad aham yat etaccha yo vashishyeta somyaham. Aham, I am the personality of God. I am the supreme personality of God. Asam, I existed. Aham asam evaha agrehe. Even before the creation, because Brahma wants to know about the material creation, about the material world, about the transcendental world. Lord says, I existed even before this material creation. Because Brahma has seen only after the material creation. So Lord says, I existed before the creation also. Na anyad, nothing else, yet all those, when nothing was there, that time I am there. I was there when nothing was there, and whatever cause and effect, even before the cause and effect of this material world, I existed. This material nature, this cause of this material nature, the effect, everything, the cause and the effect. Cause and the effect happens only in the material world. There is a cause, there is an effect. We say because of this. So cause and the effect is for material creation. So before the material creation also, I existed. When nothing was existing, I was existing. Krishna says, this from here starts Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. That is how, if you see Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, the whole Bhagavatam is based on Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. Whole Bhagavatam. So Lord says, I am that supreme cause. Because we have this 6 systems of philosophy. This is atheistic philosophy actually. If you see 6 systems of philosophy, Nyaya, Vaishashika, then you have Yoga, then you have Sankhya, then you have Uttar Mimamsa, Karma Mimamsa, Uttar Mimamsa. There, what is the cause? Who is the cause of the creation? That is why that comes as atheistic. Though Gautama, Kannada, like this great rishis, Patanjali, Kapila, atheistic Kapila, not the Lord Kapila. So all these great sages have written, but only the problem is, who is the cause? Who is the cause of creation? An answer is coming here in the 33rd verse. There, molecule is the cause, atom is the cause, and then you have nature is the cause, that is Prakriti is the cause. Then you have Paramatma, that is imaginary Paramatma is the cause. Karma is the cause of the creation. That is the cause. That is why the effect. Karma is the cause. Then to refute all this, even Vyasa says Brahman is the cause. But Supreme Personality of God, Krishna is the cause. Krishna clearly says here, aham evasam evakre nanyat yad asad nanyat yad sad asat param. Sad asat means the effect and the cause. Asat is the cause. Sat is the effect. So this cause and the effect. That is because of this, the material creation, because of the cause and the effect. But who is the real cause? I am the real cause. Before all these things, I was existing. I am existing, Krishna says, param. Paschad aham. At the end, Lord says, I, aham, yat etacha yaha avashishyate. After all this creation, that means after annihilation also, avashishyate, I am going to remain. So Lord is going to remain even after annihilation. So what is going to be after annihilation? Everything will be destroyed. We say everything will be destroyed, everything will be destroyed. Lord says, I'll be there. Don't worry. That is why he's Narayana, where everybody goes and rests. Ayanaha is Narayana. Everybody goes and rests in the stomach. So it is Lord who is the cause of all the causes. Nityo nityanam chetanis chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. So he is the one who is the cause of everything. He is the creator, he is the maintainer, he is the destroyer. That is why he is God. G-O-D. He is the generator, operator, and destroyer. So here, very nicely, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, touching his forefinger to his chest, Lord says, I alone existed. Touching his forefinger to his chest. When we say forefinger, that is how you point out, isn't it? You point others, you point yourself. So Lord says, nothing was existing before. I am existing. I am going to exist. Ekoha vai Narayana asit. Narayana alone existed. Purusha ha vai Narayana. He is the only Purusha. He is the only Purusha. Vasudeva va idam agraha asimna Brahma na cha Shankaraha. So Lord existed previous to the universe. Even Brahma and Shiva were not existing. Narayana alone existed. So sometimes we think, oh, Lord's Kalavataras, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. But Vishati iti sarvatraha Vishnu. So Narayana is existing even before Brahma, even before Lord Shiva. So it is not that Narayana is existing along with Brahma. No. Vishati iti, that is why here Narayana has not been given. If you see Kalavataras, it is Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. Why Vishnu is given? Why not Narayana is given? Because Narayana is always existing. The same Narayana enters in everyone's heart as Paramatma. The same Narayana enters everywhere as Brahman. So Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan. He say, Bahunam Janmanamante, Jnanavanmam Prapadyate, Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sadurlabha. So Sa Mahatma Sadurlabha, which Mahatma is Durlabha? One who understands Vasudeva. Vasudeva is Vishuddha Sattvam Vasudeva Shabditam. He has a beautiful form. And then Vasati iti Sarvatraha Vasudeva, one who is existing everywhere as Brahman. Sarvamiti Vasati Vasudeva, one who is existing in everyone's heart as Paramatma. We tend to forget Lord because we are so much absorbed in this materialistic world that we don't want to remember him. That is our problem. But Lord says, I existed before even Brahma. I existed before even Shiva. That means before creation, before even annihilation or after annihilation, I am going to exist. Because Shiva is responsible for annihilation, Brahma is responsible for creation. So I existed before that and I will be existing after that also. So in this way, Vishnu has been given because Lord enters everywhere. And from Narayana, actually, Brahma appears. From the navel of Narayana, Brahma appears. All the living entities arise from Narayana. That is why it's Ayana, Narayana. So, Narayana existed before. Bhagavatam speaks about it. So, yeah, now you can read the purport. Purport, I think, is very big purport here. So, you can share the purport. Raksha Mataji, read the verse. And you can share the purport with Bade Prabhuji. Oh, very big purport. It is
Okay,
3
Mataji.
pages
Hare
purport.
Krishna.
You read 1 page, two, you read 2 paragraphs. Then
Yes,
Aruna
Mataji.
Mataji
Hare
will read, Bade Prabhuji will read. Yeah.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Shloka 33. अहमेवासमेवाग्रे नान्यद्यत्तदसत्परम् पश्चादहं यदेतच्छायोऽवशिष्यते सोऽस्म्यहम्. Translation: Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation when there was nothing but myself. Nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai ho. We should note very carefully that the personality of Godhead is addressing Lord Brahma and specifying with great emphasis himself, pointing out that it is he, the personality of Godhead, who existed before the creation. It is he only who maintains the creation, and it is he only who remains after the annihilation of the creation. Brahma is also the creation of the Supreme Lord. The impersonalist puts forth the theory of oneness in the sense that Brahma also being the same principle of I, because he is an emanation from the I, and absolute truth is identical with the Lord. The principle of I, and that there is thus nothing more than the principle of I, as explained in this verse. Accepting the argument of the impersonalist, it is to be admitted that the Lord is the creator and creator I, and that the Brahma is the created I. Therefore, there is a difference between the two I, namely the predominator I and the predominated I. Therefore, there are still two I, even accepting the argument of the impersonalist. But we must note carefully that these two I's are accepted in the Vedic literature, Kathopanishad. In the sense of quality, the Kathopanishad says, Nityo Nityanam Chetas Chetanam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidhati Kaman. Mataji, may I continue? Or
Yeah,
Bade
continue,
Prabhuji? Okay.
continue from there.
Okay. The creator I and the created I are both accepted in the Vedas as qualitatively one, because both of them are Nityas and Chetanas. But the singular I is the creator I, and the created I are the plural number, because there are many I's like Brahma and those generated by Brahma. It is a simple truth. The father creates or begets a son, and the son also creates many other sons, and all of them may be one as a human being, but at the same time, from the father, the son, and the grandsons are all different. The son cannot take the place of the father, nor can the grandson. Simultaneously, the father, the son, and the grandson are one and the different also. As human beings, they are one, but as relativities, they are different. Therefore, the relativities of the creator and the created, or the predominator and the predominated, have been differentiated in the Vedas by saying that the predominator I is the feeder of the predominated I. And thus there is a vast difference between the two principles of I. Hare Krishna.
Me or
Hare
Bade
Krishna.
Prabhu, or I should read? Haan, Bade Prabhu.
In another feature of the verse, no one can deny the personality of both the Lord and Brahma. Therefore, in the ultimate issue, both the predominator and the predominated are persons. Thus, this conclusion refutes the conclusion of the impersonalists that it is the ultimate issue. Everything is impersonal. This impersonal feature, stressed by the less intelligent impersonalist school, is refuted by pointing out that the predominator I is the absolute truth, and that he is a person. The predominated I, Brahma, is also a person, but he is not the absolute. For the realization of oneself in spiritual psychology, it may be convenient to assume oneself to be the same principle as the absolute truth, but there is always the difference of predominated and the predominator. But there is always the as clearly pointed out here in this verse, which is grossly misused by the impersonalists. Brahma is factually seeing the face to face his predominated Lord, who exists in his transcendental eternal form. Even after the annihilation of the material creation, the form of the Lord, as seen by Brahma, existed before the creation of Brahma, and the material manifestation with all the ingredients and the agent of material creations are all energetic explanation of the Lord. And after the exhibition of the Lord's energy comes to a close. What remains is the same personality of Godhead. Therefore, the form of Lord exists in all the circumstances of creation, maintenance, and annihilations. The Vedic hymn confirms that the fact that the statement Vasudeva va idam gra asin na brahma na च संस्कारा एवो नारायणा असीन ना ब्रह्मा निसेना etc. Before the creation, there was none except Vasudeva. There was neither Brahma nor Shankara. Only Narayana was there and no one else. Neither Brahma nor Ishana, Sripada Shankaracharya also confirms in this comments on the Bhagavad Gita that the Narayana or the personality of Godhead is transcendental to all creation, but the whole creation is the product of avyakta. Therefore, the
Avyaktaha.
avyaktaha.
Narayano paro vyakta. Para avyaktaha. He is avyaktaha. Avyakta means he is unseen. According to Adi Shankaracharya, he also says Narayana paro vyakta. And what is given here? Vasudeva va idam agraha. He existed before. Asin naha brahma na cha Shankara eko Narayana asin na brahma na sheshena. No one existed before creation. It's only Brahma, Shiva, all come only after the creation. When the creation has to happen, material creation, Lord creates Brahma. Okay, read. Next paragraph also you read. After that, from Aruna Mataji will read. Next paragraph also you read.
Therefore, the difference between the created and the creator is always there. Although both the creator and the created are of the same quality. The other feature of this statement is that supreme truth is Bhagavan, or the personality of Godhead. The personality of Godhead and his kingdom has already been explained. The kingdom of Godhead is not void as conceived by the impersonalists. The Vaikuntha planets are full of transcendental variegatedness, including the flow-headed residents of those planets with great opulence of wealth, prosperity, and there are even airplanes and other amenities required for high grade personalities. Therefore, the personality of Godhead exists before the creation, and he exists with all the transcendental aggregatedness and the Vaikuntha Lokas. The Vaikuntha Lokas also accepted in the Bhagavad Gita as being of the Sanatana nature and are annihilated even after the annihilation of the manifested cosmos. Therefore, transcendental planets are of the different nature altogether, and that nature is not subjected to the rules and regulations of the material creations, maintenance, or annihilation. The existence of the personality of Godhead implies he exists, that the existence of the Vaikuntha existence of a king implies the existence of a kingdom.
Hare
And
Krishna. In various places
Brahmaji,
in
1 minute. 1 minute. What is the question asked by Brahmaji? Brahmaji says, I want to know about the material creation. And also, I want to know about I want to know about the material and the spiritual world. So, answering to that, what has been given? Material world anyhow existed only after, before even the material world, I existed. That is what Krishna is emphasizing on. I existed. That means this material world is temporary. Brahma, Shiva, all are post. They also existed when they were all not there. I was there. This cause, effect, nothing was there. Everything came afterwards. And even after annihilation, I will be remaining. So, nature of the material world and nature of the spiritual world, that has been asked. That is the first question which was asked by Brahma in the 26th verse. Answering to that, this is the statement. 33rd is the statement. Okay, Aruna, read.
In various places in Srimad Bhagavatam and in other revealed scriptures, the existence of the personality of Godhead is mentioned. For example, in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.8.10, Maharaja Parikshit asks, Sachapi yatra purusho vishvastiti udbhavapyayah muktvatma maya mayeshah shete sarvaguhashayah. How does the personality of Godhead, the cause of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, who is always freed from the influence of the illusory energy and is the controller of the same, lie in everyone's heart? Similar also is a question of Viduras, Tattvanam Bhagavams Tesham Katidha Pratishankramaha Tatre Mamka Upashiran Kayusvid Anu Sherathe. Bhagavatam 3.7.37. Sridhara Swami explains in this in his notes. During the annihilation of the creation, who serves the Lord lying on the Shesha, etc. This means that the transcendental Lord, with all his name, fame, quality, and paraphernalia, exists eternally. The same confirmation is also in the Kashi Khanda of the Skanda Purana in connection with Dhruva Charitra. Dhruva Charita, it is said there, Nachavante apiyad bhakta mahatyam
Mahatyam
pralayapadi
pralayapadi atochito khile loke sa ekah sarvago peha.
Even the devotees of the personality of Godhead are not annihilated during the period of the entire annihilation of the material world. Devotees of the personality of God are not annihilated. Not to speak of the Lord himself. The Lord is ever existent in all three stages of the material change. The impersonalist abduces no activity in the Supreme. But in this discussion between Brahma and the Supreme
Wait.
Personality
What
of
is the
God,
important statement which has been given? Even the devotees are not annihilated.
Not annihilated.
So that is the power of devotion. Lord does not annihilate the devotees. Devotees are always engaged in his service. Annihilation are only for putting in the Sushubdi and Sushubdi stage. This Jagrana, then comes the Sapna, that is in the material world. But when the devotees take up to the service, they are really awake. They are really awake. Then why Lord should put them again in the sleeping stage? Why should he do that? That is why they are not annihilated. Annihilated means what? Going inside the stomach and again going and sleeping, isn't it? That is Sushupti. And what is the material world? Again they come, they are in the sapna, they think that this is only everything. They are put in the Maya. So, so we think that it is Jagrana and it is sapna, but what Jagrana it is? That is why when the devotional service is performed, why should Lord put him in the Ayana stage? Okay, read further.
The impersonalist abduces no activity in the Supreme, but in this discussion between Brahma and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord is said to have activities also, as he has his form and quality. The activities of Brahma and other demigods during the maintenance of the creation are to be understood understood as the activities of the Lord. The king or the head executive of a state may not be seen in the government offices, for he may be engaged in royal comforts, yet it should be understood that everything is being done under his direction and everything is at his command. The personality of Godhead is never formless in the material world. He may not be visible in his personal form to the less intelligent class of men, and therefore he may sometimes be called formless, but actually he is always in his eternal form in his Vaikuntha planet as well as in other planets of the universes as different incarnations. The example of sun is very appropriate in this connection. The sun is the night. The sun in the night may not be visible to the eyes of men in the darkness, but the sun is visible wherever it has risen. That the sun is not visible to the eyes of the inhabitants of a particular part of earth does not mean that the sun has no form. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 1.4.1, there is a hymn Atma Nivedanam Agra Asit Purusha Vidaha. The mantra indicates the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna even before the appearance of the Purusha incarnation. In the Bhagavad Gita 15.18, it is said that the Lord Krishna is Purushottama because he is the Supreme Purusha, transcendental even to the Purusha Akshara and the Purushakshara. The Akshara Purusha or the Mahavishnu throws his glance over the Prakriti or material nature, but the Purushottama existed even before that. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad therefore confirms the statement of the Bhagavad Gita that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Person, Purushottama. Mataji, should I continue?
Yes, continue.
In some of the Vedas, it is also said that in the beginning only the impersonal Brahman existed. However, according to this verse, the impersonal Brahman, which is the glowing effulgence of the body of the Supreme Lord, may be called the immediate cause, but the cause of all causes or the remote cause is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord's impersonal feature is existent in the material world because by material senses or material eyes, the Lord cannot be seen or perceived. One has to spiritualize the senses before one can expect to see or perceive the Supreme Lord. But he is always engaged in his personal capacity and is eternally visible to the inhabitants of Vaikuntha Loka eye to eye. Therefore, he is materially impersonal, just as the executive head of the state may be impersonal in the government offices, although he is not impersonal in the government house. Similarly, the Lord is not impersonal in his abode, which is always Nirasta Kuhakam, as stated in the very beginning of the Bhagavatam. Therefore, both the impersonal and personal features of the Lord are acceptable as mentioned in the revealed scriptures. This personality of Godhead is very emphatically explained in the Bhagavad Gita in connection with the verse Brahmano hi pratishtaham. Bhagavad Gita 4.27. Therefore,
Brahmano hi pratishtaham, Brahmano hi pratishtaham. The Brahman also, Krishna, it is Krishna's form. Brahman is Krishna's form. Krishna's effulgence is Brahman. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. Effulgence is Brahman. And very nicely it has been said that how we cannot see the ruler of the state. When we can see him? Only when we go to his office. Till that time he is impersonal. But for the devotees, Krishna is personal because devotees are serving Krishna in their own capacity in the eternal world. For him, he is personal. So you may say that, oh, Lord is personal only for the devotees in the eternal world. Lord is personal even for the devotees in this world, because service to Krishna in this world and service to Krishna in the spiritual world is non-different. Like Prabhupada sometimes compares with the post office and the post box. Both are doing the same work, isn't it? So whatever you are doing the services, that goes to the spiritual world. And wherever Krishna is worshipped, Krishna is eternally present over there. So Krishna's Vigraha and Krishna are non-different. So this service to Krishna's Vigraha, who is non-different from Krishna, the most compassionate form. Like Lord appears in the 5 forms. That is Purushaha, then you have Vyuha, then you have Antaryami, Avataras, then you have Antaryami, then you have Archa Vigraha. So Archa Vigraha is the most compassionate form. Lord himself as Purusha, then he has Vyuhas, Vasudeva Pratyumnanu, the Sankarshan, then he has Avataras, then he has Antaryami, then Lord's Archa Vigraha. The most compassionate form is Archa Vigraha. So whatever you are feeding Krishna, how you are serving Krishna, Krishna is accepting it. So the devotees will never be annihilated. What a wonderful statement has been given. Because Lord doesn't do any bad bargain, isn't it? Why should he annihilate devotees? If he annihilates devotees, what will happen to him? Who is going to feed him? And then here, Nirasta Kuhakam, the first verse of Bhagavatam, what it says, or the first verse of Bhagavatam, Janmadesya Tanmyadi Karataha Chartesha Vikyasva Tene Brahmodaya Adikave Muhyanti Sure. Tejovari था तेजोवारि मृदा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मिषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकम् सत्यम परम धीमहि. Satyam param dhimahi. Krishna's abode is the Satyam. Let me meditate upon him. Okay, read further.
Therefore, in all ways, the confidential part of spiritual knowledge is realization of the personality of Godhead and not his impersonal Brahman feature. One should therefore have his ultimate aim of realization not in the impersonal feature but in the personal feature of the absolute truth. The example of the sky within the pot and the sky outside the pot may be helpful to the student for his realization of the all pervading quality of the cosmic consciousness of the absolute truth. But that does not mean that the individual part and parcel of the Lord becomes a supreme by a false claim. It means only that the conditioned soul is a victim of the illusory energy in her last snare. To claim to be one with the cosmic consciousness of the Lord is the last trap set by the illusory energy or Daivi Maya. Even in the impersonal existence of the Lord, as it is in the material creation, one should aspire for personal realization of the Lord, and that is the meaning of Paschat Aham Yad Etacchayo Vashishyeta So Asmi Aham. Brahmaji also accepted the same truth when he was instructing Narada. He said, Soyam te bihitasthata Bhagavan Vishwa Bhavanaha. Bhagavatam 2.7.50. There is no other cause of all causes than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari. Therefore, this verse Aham Eva never indicates anything other than the Supreme Lord, and one should therefore follow the path of the Brahma Sampradaya or the path from Brahmaji to Narada to Vyasadeva, etc., and make it a point in life to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari or Lord Krishna. This very confidential instruction to the pure devotees of the Lord was also given to Arjuna and to Brahma in the beginning of the creation. The demigods like Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, Indra, Chandra, and Varuna are undoubtedly different forms of the Lord for execution of different functions. The different elemental ingredients of material creation, as well as the multifarious energies, also may be of the same personality of Godhead, but The root of all of them is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. One should be attached to the root of everything rather than bewildered by the branches and leaves. That is the instruction given in this verse. Hare Krishna.
So this verse speaks about the 26th verse where Brahma asks about the material and the spiritual world. From here, Chaturshloki Bhagavatam starts. So in these 4 verses, 32, 34, 35, 36, Krishna is going to speak about the nature of the material world, the nature of the spiritual world, how the different energies function and then what are the pastimes of Lord, and what is the final instruction which Brahma wanted. The final instruction about the Prema Bhakti, about the service to the spiritual master, about the importance of the chanting, everything will be coming in this chapter. Stop here. So whatever questions you can type, I am not going to ask you now any questions. From next class I have to start. Okay. Hare Krishna. Panchapal Satadubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Patitanam Pavan